Alright, last time we entered this store. What was its name again? Rindir staff? Something about... Where's my mini-map? There we go, Rindir staffs. Rindir's staffs. I already talked to him, I think.
You're in Rindir's staffs, and I'm...
Yeah, I remember. And I was about to...
Goodbye.
Check out this lovely store with all the purple colors. And he has some books lying around. Stuff in a display which needs a key. More stuff that he sells. Even more books in his display case. He won't unlock it. There's even some kind of weapon in there. Don't know how to get to that. A staff. So no, we won't open the display. Although the weird thing is that it's... I was gonna say the icon is not red, it's white. So that means if we were to lockpick this case, apparently he wouldn't mind. Maybe stealing the books is another thing. Before we try that, let's check out this book, Manual of Spellcraft. We didn't read that yet, so let's go ahead and read it. I've read Manual of Arms, but not Spellcraft yet. Manual of Spellcraft and Introductory Text. The beginning spellcaster. The most powerful mages in Tamriel were once beginners. They all had similar early experiences, exposure to magic kindled an interest, and or unlocked some latent ability, followed by years of hard work. These intrepid souls honed their skills, learned new spells, and vigorously trained their minds and bodies to become the formidable figures they were known as during their later lives. The Mages Guild of Tamriel has long been the first stop on the long road to knowledge and power for many individuals. Providing magical services to the general public, the guild offers a wide variety of spells for purchase and is recommended as a first stop for any aspiring spellcaster. Independent dealers may be found, though their selection of spells is often not as comprehensive as that of the Mages Guild. Many spells are beyond the capabilities of beginning mages. The ability to render oneself invisible, for example, is an advanced power and is beyond a novice spellcaster. Through practice, a mage may become more skilled in a given school of magic and find himself proficient enough to begin exploring its more powerful aspects. The fledgling mage should not be daunted by his inability to wield certain powers, but should instead use this as a point of focus and a drive for bettering himself. Rather than becoming discouraged, the student should look forward to higher levels of skill, such as the advanced techniques of absorbing spells, summoning lesser and eventually greater Daedra and undead for research purposes only, and protection against specific types of spells such as fire, frost, and shock spells. So yeah, it says for research purpose only. Well, I know there certainly are a lot of people and mages that won't take that rule too hard. Mages wishing to specialize in a particular school of magic are encouraged to learn as many spells as possible within that school and to practice them frequently. All mages, whether specializing or nurturing a general interest, are encouraged to apply for membership within the Mages Guild. Beyond services available to the general public, the accomplished guild member has access to many exclusive services such as advanced spellcraft and enchanting. These services have been deemed potentially dangerous to the public at large and have been restricted to higher ranked guild members in good standing by the Council of Mages. Citizens interested in the further use of magic should consult their local Mages Guild Archmagister, which I will certainly do at a later point. Alright, thank you for the magic kind of tutorial introduction. He's just standing over there right now. Alright, what else do you have? Book-wise. More books on display. A chest. You can actually see this icon is red, so that would be illegal. I guess I can open the display and then not take the items. There's a lectern and a letter, a shopping list. side of beef, onions, corn, mead, 3 loaves of bread. It's not something I have to shop for you, right? It's not a side quest or anything. I wonder if we sell it to him. Maybe he gives us a reply. Well, I'm not finding that out. It's nice though. Mortar and pestle. More manuals of Spellcraft. I guess he sells it. And now for just trying, I'm going to try to lockpick this display case. Although my lockpick skill isn't that great. At least it gives me a shot. Skill is 8, picks left 45, so this could be very hard. And I hate the minigame. I prefer the minigame in Skyrim. And when my lock skill raises, I will auto attempt a lot. Because I never can get it right. It needs to be at the top and stay there. These were all good, but I'm always afraid that it won't be good. Alright, just one more. Maybe I can do it. I can do it, great. Now, what kind of book you have there? Glories and Lemons. Let's go for it. It might be a skill book even. Grand Soul Gems, we can't take them. It's not a skill book, but we can read it nonetheless. Glories and Lemons. Among the Ayleid ruins by Alexandre Hétrard. A French guy. Having arrived at Godelsfond Priory, halfway on the Gold Road between Skingrat and the Imperial City, I resolved to make a side trip to view the magnificent ruins of Kaya Tatar, or Shadow of the Father Woods, in the ancient Ayleid tongue. After many hours of difficult travel throughout tangled hawthorn hells and limberlosts, I was suddenly struck dumb by the aspect of 5 pure white columns rising from a jade-green mound of vines to perfect V-shaped arches and graceful capitals towering above the verdant forest growth. He certainly knows how to write a book. Okay, so he's about the Ayleid ruins. Gotta memorize that. This spectacle caused me to meditate on the lost glories of the past and the melancholy fate of high civilizations now poking like splinter shards of bone from the green ground, tumultus of time-swept obscurity. Within the forest tangle, I discovered an entrance leading down into the central dome of a great underground edifice, once dedicated to Magnus, the god of sight, light, and insight. Dimly lit by the faded powers of its magical pools, the shattered white walls of the enclosure shimmered with a cold blue light. The marble benches of the central plaza faced out across the surrounding waters to tall columns and sharp arches supporting the high dome. From the central island, stately bridges spanned the still pools to narrow walkways behind the columns with broad vaulted avenues and limpid canals leading away through ever-deepening gloom into darkness. Reflected in the pools were the tumbled columns, collapsed walls, and riotous root and vine growth thriving the dark half-light of the magical fountains. The ancient Ayleids recognized not the 4 elements of modern natural philosophy, earth, water, air, and fire, but the 4 elements of high elf religion, earth, water, air, and light. At least 3 are the same. Fire and light are differences. The Ayleids considered fire to be but a weak and corrupt form of light, which Ayleid philosophers identified with primary magical principles. Thus, their ancient subterranean temples and sanctuaries were lit by lamps, globes, pools, and fountains of purest magic. And if you don't know or haven't figured that out, the Ayleids were the people that became extinct, and they were living in Tamriel before humans and orcs and Argonians and the like did. They built the Imperial City, for instance. It was by these ancient faded but still active magics that I knelt and contemplated the departed glories of the long-dead Ayleid architects. Gazing through the glass-smooth reflections of the surrounding pools, I could see deep below the slow pulse, the waxing and waning of the Welkin stones. The chiefest perils of these ruins to the explorer are the cunning and deadly mechanisms devised by the Ayleids to torment and confound those who would invade their underground sanctuaries. What irony that after these many years, these devices should still stand vigilant against those who would admire the works of the Ayleids. For it is clear, these devices were crafted in vain. They did not secure the Ayleids against their true enemies, which were not the slaves who revolted and overthrew their cruel masters, nor were they the savage beast peoples who learned the crafts of war and magic from their Ayleid masters. No, it was the arrogant pride of their achievements, their smug self-assurance that their empire would last forever, that doomed them to fail and fade into obscurity. That's a little history lesson about the glories of the Ayleids, who eventually destroyed themselves. I'm not sure why or how, but it happened. Alright, now we've cracked open that case. I want to get my hand on this one. Contains 2 books. One might be a skill book. You don't want to miss out on the skill books. Just trying my luck here. So far it's going pretty well, I guess. There we go. Security skill increased. Display case opened. He doesn't mind. Well, he might think, what the hell are you doing? I just want to read them. It would be easier if Bethesda implemented like an option. Could you open the display for me and then I can read the books? Alright, what do we have? The third door. That's new. So another reading episode. My episodes in the Imperial City will be very reading heavy because of all the new books. But it's a good backstory, so I hope you don't mind too much. The Third Door by Ananar Orm. Have never heard of him. Just like the Frenchman earlier. Okay, this has a chapter. Chapter 1. I sing of Elabeth, the Queen of the Axe, who could fell a full elm with 2 hatchet hacks. She could rip apart Valenwood just for her fun. She studied under Elfhidil in Telarun. He taught her the jabs, the strokes, and the stance to make an axe swing into an elegant dance. Rhymes, I like him. I wonder if it's supposed to be a song or a rap song. He taught her the barbed axes of the orcs Bold, the 6-foot-long axes favored in Winterhold, Skyrim, the hollow-bladed axes of the elves of the west, which whistle when they swing through flesh. With a single-headed axe she could behead 2 men. With a double-headed axe she could fell more than 10. Yet where she lives in legend has most to do with the man who hacked her own heart in 2. That was a good one. Okay, right, second one. Guess they're separate poems. Ninolus Ulworth, the mighty who hailed from Blackrose, the only man who could best Elabeth with axe blows. Oh, it continues. In a minute she chopped 50 trees, he 53. She felt at once that he was the only man for she. When she professed her love, Ninolus just laughed. He said he loved more his axe, handle, and shaft. His shaft? That's a pun. And if they weren't enough to slake all his desire, there was another woman named Lorinthire. Fury gripped the queen of the axe, the maid Elabeth, and her thoughts turned to pondering musings of death. Mephala and Sheogorath gave her a revengeful scheme, and for weeks she worked on it in a state like a dream. In the still of the night she kidnapped her rival and then told her choices between doom and survival. Chapter 3. Lorinthire awoke in a house in the moors, in a room lightly furnished except for 3 doors. Elabeth explained that behind one of the doors the lass would find Elabeth's and her love, the great Ninolass. Behind the second lived a ravenous demon, and behind the third an exit to freedom. She must choose a door, and to aid her decision, if she pondered too long, the axe to make a division. Lorinthire wept, and Elabeth felt contrite, and opened the door to her immediate right. It led to the moors, and as she slipped through the gloom, she advised Lorinthire to likewise abandon the room. Lorinthire ignored her and did not feel her will bend. Ninolus was largely behind the first door she opened. 4. Elabeth had lied. There was no demon of lore. The top third of Ninolus was behind the third door. Wait, what happened? Okay, there was only one part. Alright. So I guess a very bad ending to the book. I wonder who wrote all this stuff at Bethesda office. I mean, plenty of script and drawings and scribblings and all that stuff. I guess they had a lot of writers put on it. And there's another book, The Wild Elves. This must be a skill book, since it's worth that much. And it ain't, apparently. Alright, On Wild Elves by Kierjo Chorvak. Haven't heard of him as well. In the wilds of most every province of Tamriel, descended philosophically, if not directly from the original inhabitants of the land, are the Ayleids, commonly called the Wild Elves. While three races of elven stock, the Altmer or High Elves, the Bosmer or Wood Elves, and Dunmer or Dark Elves, have assimilated well into the new cultures of Tamriel. Another rhyme. The Ayleids and their brethren have remained aloof toward our civilization, preferring to practice the old ways far from the eyes of the world. The Wild Elves speak a variation of Old Cyrodiilic, opting to shun Tamrielic and separating themselves from the mainstream of Tamriel even further than the least urbanized of their elven cousins. In temperament, they are dark-spirited and taciturn, though this is from the point of view of outsiders, or Palani in their tongue. And doubtlessly, they act differently within their own tribes. Indeed, one of the finest sages of the University of Gwilym, was a civilized Ayleid elf, Churhain Fir. I'm not going to read that era first till second, that's all you need to know. Whose published work on wild elves suggests a lively, vibrant culture. Firi, is one of the very few Ayleids to speak freely on his people and religion, and he himself said the nature of the Ayleid tribes is multi-hued, their personalities often wildly different from their neighboring tribes. Fear T. Nature of Ayleidic Poesy, page 8, University of Gwilym Press, 2nd era, year 12. A lot of stuff about Ayleids in this store. I guess it's very Meiji to put in books of Ayleids in your store. Anyway, like any alien culture, wild elves are often feared by the simple people of Tamriel. The Ayleids continue to be one of the greatest enigmas of the continent of Tamriel. They seldom appear in the pages of written history in any role. Okay, yeah. And then only as a strange sight a chronicler stumbles upon before they vanish into the wood. So they still exist? When probable fiction is filtered from common legend, we are left with almost nothing. The mysterious ways of the Ayleids have remained shrouded since before the First Era, and may well remain so for thousands of years to come. Well, maybe we'll find out more about them in this game. I actually kind of like that the books prepare you for the treasure ahead. I mean, it's somewhat maybe a little intimidating to start in the biggest city, Imperial City, but you'll learn so much about the world before you head out. If you take the time to read the books, but that's a good thing to do. The basement is locked, I won't go in there. What time is it anyway? 8 PM. He's waiting for me to leave, because he finally can close his shop then. And there are his private quarters. Okay, I'm leaving already. Sorry I've read all your books. But I think I didn't even buy something from him. Well, later. Let's move out. Alright, so now it's evening again. Shops are closed. So there's no point in... You never know, maybe... No, Edgar is closed. I haven't done this part of the city. People are just leaving their homes right now, which is very weird. I guess it triggers when I get to this part of the city again.
I see you. Hello.
Helenaria,
Go ahead, please.
have I talked to you before? Maybe not. Do you know of any rumors?
A lot of mages swear by Rindir's staffs.
I've actually just been there, you know. A lot of great books.
Be seeing you.
What about you?
Hello. Hello.
Claudette Perrick. You're new. What can you tell me about the city?
Also try my friend, Ajir Gioric, the main ingredient here in the district.
I don't think I have been there yet, so I will do. What do you know about the Thorinir, by the way?
Talk to Jensine. She can help you better than I can.
I already did. I guess I'll see you in your shop tomorrow.
Farewell.
Alright, so I guess it's a good thing to wait or sleep again. I'll wait until sunrise to visit the rest of this area. Taking a long time, but I'm liking it.